Okay, hey everybody, welcome to an episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today, a really cool strap update for you guys from the brand Artem. A little about them: they're founded out of Adelaide, Australia, and they're the producers of the world's finest sailcloth strap, as seen in many reviews, even outside of my own channel. Now, in terms of this particular offering, it's actually an update of one of their new top-of-the-line premium strap offerings that's really considered to be their finest option to date, crafted with a premium FKM rubber base and layered with their signature synthetic embossed sailcloth material on top. This is their HydroFlex line, and it's really meant to be a, luxury level strap option, and it comes with a luxury level price point at $218 direct. It was originally available in gray, green, blue, and black, but with these recent additions, they've actually added these really cool khaki green options with orange, as well as with or without the orange contrast stitching. As you guys can see, the green stitch versus the orange stitch. And I really see these, especially with the high visibility orange accents, as kind of the perfect everyday adventure type of watch strap. So like great for any type of expedition watch, or of course divers that are going to have, that kind of dual purpose, where maybe you're not just wearing it for water sports, you're wearing it for the robustness it has. And maybe you're using that dive bezel to time other things as well. So, and of course that signature orange colorway is definitely associated with expedition watches, thanks to watches like, of course, the Rolex Explorer 2. But of course, if you don't have an Explorer 2, then and you just have a watch that has some orange on it, I think these would be really fun. I've featured quite a few full orange straps, and I love the look and the vibrance, but it's nice to have something that's just slightly more toned down, and I think that green colorway really offsets. And also, they even sent in a blue model that they updated, so the blue strap, but with white stitches, so we'll go ahead and check that one out as well. But just quickly, the two watches that I'm showcasing here are going to be both from Nivada Grenchen, and they both have great orange accents. One, of course, being more within that kind of explorer-esque type of adventure watch, and the other being more of a dedicated dive watch. But I think, both with their orange accents, whether they be more heavy-handed or more subtle, are really going to play well with either of these strap options. So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get these pieces in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, guys, so both of these are pretty awesome, and of course I do enjoy the watches. Look for the full reviews in my channel history, but you can see here a little bit more of a pop of orange there with that extra contrast stitching, and then here with the color match stitch. And I think this is probably the rule that I would go with if I was to source these and select them for my own watches, which actually these are my own watches and now my own straps. But just to give you kind of a peek behind the thought process, I would say, hey, if it's going to have a more dominant, maybe a full orange dial, I would maybe tone down the orange here, and you do more of the color match stitch here, and then the contrast stitch for just a pop of orange, just to engage a little bit more of that play. So, very different types of watches. Of course, you see this, you think, okay, I'm taking this out in, out into the wilderness, cold weather environment, or not. I think this green definitely helps it stay a little bit more versatile, and maybe you don't need to go to a snow-capped mountaintop to enjoy this particular piece. And, a nice clean white dial on a field watch has never, it's actually quite nice. So I think this helps a little bit with even the versatility of this timepiece by giving you something that's going to feel just, again, a little bit more versatile. I typically wear this watch on its Beads of Rice bracelet. Now, coming on to this bad boy right here, check that out. I think this is a lot of fun because I know that they actually typically made this style really to engage with kind of the Panerai audience. And this is, of course, a much more compact variation on that beautiful cushion case. And you guys can see here, just with the orange, it could have been a pretty overpowering if I would have gone with like a full orange strap, but you guys can see here now with the green, but then just a little pop of orange. I think it really feels quite well balanced, and I dig that, and it, you know, ties into the theme. And now, of course, not just seeing this as just, hey, it's merely a dive watch out for the beach and surf. Now I could easily see this. Yeah, I mean, this would be something great to take on an adventure with you, you know, and out in South America or something, right? So this, I think it helps, and just like it gives it a different vibe. And that's one of the reasons why straps are so awesome, right? Watch straps can really change things up for you. And yeah, of course, these are not cheap straps. Really, they're not. They're expensive. And if you have not super expensive watches, then yeah, $200 for a strap is a lot. And even if you do spend a lot of money on your watches, it still makes $200 for a strap, you know, not the easiest pill to swallow. So I know these aren't going to be for everyone, but that's kind of one of the things that I like about Artem, is that they're really dedicated to just trying to make the best product. And you know, they really weren't concerned with the market, and trying to compete with every other, you know, more affordable strap manufacturer. They really created this whole line of the HydroFlex to compete with OEM straps, like from Omega, that cost a lot more than this. 345 bucks for a similar Omega Hybrid type of strap. So I like that they, you know, they just went all in with the theme and said, okay, well, you know what, our audience will find us. So I'm always happy to kind of share their products when they have new releases. Now, another cool new release is going to be the white stitch that is now available on their blue strap. And while we have this up, why don't we take a good look at this finishing on this buckle, guys? Look at that. Beautifully milled, great transitions in between brushed and polished. Look at how sharp that is. And it's not sharp to the touch, but it is sharp to the eye, because this is finished to a very high level. And now look at that, fully milled, even the fingers milled, and just nicely fitted with a very tight tolerance into that, beautifully signed. And then, you know, the milling aspect and the chamfering, look at the bevel, just goes all the way around. This is really, really impressive. Now, you also do get, of course, that really fantastic sailcloth strap material on top. You get the black keepers here matching with the FKM theme, which I think look great. And then, of course, on the underside, you're going to have, you know, a little bit of patterning, but most of that is just for breathability. So it's not going to be laying completely flat on your wrist. You're going to be able to have a couple channels for air, for sweat. And they said, hey, why not make this thing just, you know, hey, let's nicely sign these straps as well, and then even add that information. So at a glance, you know, this is the 20 millimeter option, and it does taper down to 18. So if you want to swap out the buckle, you can do that. Or if you want to swap out the strap, it makes it a little bit easier for you. So very, very nice. I will mention though that there are, you know, you can see a little bit of the mold lines there, which, you know, that's sometimes people will see that as a sign of a lack of precision. I will say it hasn't bothered me at all, but it is something, you know, to acknowledge. There are certain times strap companies will make a huge effort to try to avoid any types of those mold lines. And, you know, while this is meant to be their top of the line, I'm still a huge fan of their classic loopless sailcloth. That for me, that's my favorite variation of theirs. And the cool thing is it's actually slightly cheaper, even with that Omega style deployant buckle. These are actually compatible with their Richard Mille style deployant buckles that actually have a cool leaf spring setup. But I think this hardware is just, it's too nice. Like I wouldn't want to switch out this buckle hardware. It looks great. For me, the only real issue is going to be the length. So these have a 115 millimeter length on the long end and 75 millimeters on the short end. I'm typically fond of I feel like the more industry standard length of 120 and 80 here. So basically they're going to be 5 millimeters shorter on each end, which is great for those of you with smaller wrists, because now you're going to have less tail to tuck on the end there. But for me, I'm down to maybe the last 3 holes, so it doesn't give me a lot of leverage and purchase when I'm folding that back through. So if you do have a larger wrist and you like this strap and you're hoping that they'll come out with a longer variation, definitely leave a comment down below, and hopefully we can help get the word out. But I think most people are kind of happy that these are shorter, and unfortunately I'm not one of those people. But the good news is that there's plenty of folks that are really enjoying this length. Now, getting back to the straps, actually a cool example is what you can see is this one I've actually broken in. So you can see it has a slight curvature to it. So there is a bit, I wouldn't say there's a break-in period, right? But these are relatively thick, right? So the nice thing is, it's especially when you're pairing that with a, mechanical watch, a dive watch at that. one with 1,000 meters of water resistance. You're going to want this thicker section, and then it's going to slowly taper down to get thinner. So it's going to have a taper width-wise, right, for comfortability, but also thickness-wise, so that you're going to have enough structure for this to sit really well on your wrist. So we'll go ahead and, we won't cut away for that because this is a strap review. So I'll go ahead and showcase that. You can see I'm down to the last 3 holes. It would have been nice to just have a little bit more there, but I know some of you are thinking, oh, that's great. That fits perfectly. So don't complain. I'm not complaining. But yeah, my preference would be typically for something that's going to be just a little bit longer, just the feeling of security and even the ease of the tactile engagement of tucking that back through. But I think this looks great. Especially with that green sailcloth, which isn't, super mainstream. So that's one of the nice features here, is that this actually feels almost iconic, right? In terms of the way it goes together and flows. And it's not like they copied an existing strap. And I think that's kind of fun. Now, when we get to this one, I haven't really broken in. I actually just kind of got the wild idea to throw it on before the review. So here you can see this is what's going to come out of the box. Is going to be a lot more flat in profile versus, this I basically, figured out what my size was, and then I put it on a little watch pillow and just kind of let it chill like that and stored it like that, and then added a little bit of that curvature there, so you're going to have a little less pressure on your wrist. But I think this looks gorgeous. So let's go ahead. I am left-handed, so I do wear my watches on my right wrist. So we'll go ahead and swap that here, guys, and check this out. Now, I really do dig this layout, and I have to say, I like that, again, with just a little strap change, you can kind of almost reinvent a watch, and it just feels so much different. Like, look at that. This, again, was typically on a full stainless steel beads of rice bracelet, but now you can see here, it just gives it a totally different vibe, and I really appreciate that. I think that looks quite fantastic, guys, and whether you're, again, somebody that has a similar type of watch or what, there's something about this. And the nice thing is you're sparing any additional wear and tear to your bracelet. So that's always, something nice, right? You don't want to have it too banged up. But then you can put on a strap like this. You can wear this at definitely a much more utilitarian, from that standpoint, it's going to be sweat resistant, water resistant, all the goodies. So you can really take this out and really, put these watches to their paces. This watch actually originally came on a leather strap. Yes. True to that kind of Italian Panerai style. It looked really cool. And I think for a day-to-day it was fantastic. But again, if I'm going to be really wearing this and putting it through its paces, I feel like this strap really, really flows with that. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun here, guys. Not too much to report. You guys, if you've watched my channel before, you guys know that these are of a very, very high quality in terms of their construction. They do come with quick release spring bars. This is vegan made, all the stuff that you think of, and probably a lot of other standards you don't necessarily think of, in terms of the embossing of the sailcloth, the 316L stainless steel, all of the goodies there. That there's a lot to like here. And these are, this video is just meant to kind of showcase three new strap options as they've kind of expanded there with the growth and hopefully of the popularity of this particular line. Again, my favorite strap of theirs is actually their loopless sailcloth strap. Let me see if I have one handy I can grab real quick. I really like this style, and it is a slightly cheaper, which is cool, but for me, thanks to the length difference, it fits a little bit better, and it has a little bit more, of course, a nautical theme to it, which I like in terms of kind of pairing that with watches that are meant for water sports. The sailcloth really goes with that theme, but you have something like this now, and it just rocks in terms of just a little bit more versatility and feeling like something that is definitely at home on land, right? Like even this watch itself has a screw down crown. It has probably more water resistance than it really needs. But the nice thing is here, guys, is, you really have some options, and you can wear this really as a dedicated kind of field watch. And hey, you take it up to the snow. And the cool thing is, as that snow melts, as you sweat, all these things under a coat, or hey, it's really cold and you don't want to have too much cold steel against your wrist, you can have something like this. And again, it just adds a certain layer of versatility. That high visibility orange is very nice as well. Just from a tactical and functional perspective, if you are worried about your loadout and having good visibility of your gear, maybe in not the best lighting conditions. So yeah, I just dig this. It's a cool release, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are there any watch combinations that you could think that these would look really great with? I mean, these were kind of my default choices here. I think, of course, something that's going to be more in kind of that Explorer 2 kind of vibe, white dial, orange pop would look great. And then as well as, your typical kind of orange dial, steel bezel layout, I think is going to look fantastic as well. And these just happen to be two awesome watches that I had in my personal collection that I think flow really, really well with these guys. So closing thoughts, guys. Are these expensive? Yes. But they're meant to be. Yes, they are actually meant to be expensive because they're meant to be premium, and premium products are not cheap. They're not trying to compete with other aftermarket watch strap manufacturers. Like with their premium sailcloth straps, they really aim to compete with full-on OEM luxury straps. So that means, these straps are made to be more of an alternative to, again, a $345 OEM Omega Hybrid strap. Maybe something one would want to put on a $5,000 luxury piece. And, if your watch costs $5,000 or more, then a $200 strap doesn't seem too bad. So these aren't for everybody. They're not marketed for everybody. Everybody who watches this video isn't even going to like these, let alone, somebody who's actually on the market to buy something. But for me, I think they work well, even on these watches that are, closer to $1,000. I think they look really, really great. So I do wish these were a touch longer. I think that 80-120 length combination would be a little bit better for me. But not everybody has a 7.5-inch wrist or larger, right? So it's not really a drawback. If anything, it's not a fault. It's just an option. And anybody with a smaller wrist is really just going to appreciate that reduced kind of tail slack. So, again, not perfect for me, but still I can absolutely see the value. I think for what they are pretty perfect. In terms of just total package. And unfortunately, perfection doesn't come cheap. Like there's not, a lot here where, I wish they would have done this. And I wish there was more strap because my larger wrist. But otherwise, it's not like I'm thinking, if they would have cleaned up the stitching or if they would have used a better material or this or that, like that it would have made it a, objectively more value rich piece. Like I think the value is already there. And of course, it's not for everyone. But I do enjoy these and I think they look cool. So with that said, let me know what you all think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please do like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.